It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like and the share and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. If you click it, you can become a member. All you got to do is try. You can recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. Now, with that being said, we are here today with another review. It is of a 2021 film, Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy. Now, this is the sequel to the original Coming to America, but it's a little bit different. So, let's get into the synopsis. So, a quick synopsis of this film is that Eddie Murphy is now the king of Zamunda, and he is getting ready to set it up so the passing of the throne eventually, right? He's setting up all the plays. And his daughter wants to be the new heir, but according to his tradition and his customs, a woman cannot take the throne. So he must have a male heir. So he's either faced with the idea that he's going to have to marry his daughter off to somebody, which is Wesley Snipes' character. But, you know, he doesn't want to do that. And he finds out that apparently he got busy with Leslie Jones in Queens and had a bastard son. So now he's going down to Queens to retrieve his son. And his son is going to have to learn the ways of the Zamundan people and become the prince that everyone needs, right? So, with that being said, let's get into the good. There's not much good in this movie, but I'm going to get into what I liked. One, there's some great cameos in this film. So you have Wesley Snipes. His character is awesome and funny. Michael Black's in this movie. Rick Ross, Mutombo, Tiana Taylor. The list goes on. There's a gang of people in this movie that make really cool cameos. Also, the set designs of this movie are perfect, right? They look really good. The palaces look elegant. The freaking costume designs were dope. Everything in the movie, set-wise, was on point. It looked really good. You really felt like you were in a king's palace. Now, outside of that, I mean, it was really good to see familiar faces. We see all the familiar faces from the original movie. Everybody tried to poke their head in and make a little quick cameo, and it was dope to see them. But at the same time, they couldn't save this movie because to me, this property should have just been left alone, but that's just me, right? So, one of the biggest flaws in this movie is they tried to recreate the magic of the first film, sprinkled a little fairy dust on it, to be said, by just simply trying to update the original story with a new cast, right? Which I believe was pointless. If you're going to try to recreate the wheel, at least try to do it in a way where it's making it its own property or making it original. It really just felt like they took the idea from the original, wrapped it around the new characters, and just tried to present it as a new property, and it's not. It's really just the same old property, just wrapped up in a different costume. Then, my biggest gripe with this film is this. This movie basically erases all of the character development of Prince Akeem in the first film. Prince Akeem basically wanted to step out of the shadow of his father and become his own man. And basically what this movie does is it erases all of that. It just, it destroys it. And you're wondering, why the hell did they go that route? Why did you set it up that Prince Akeem in the first movie was really trying to be outside of his dad's, step out of his dad's shadow, be his own man, and do everything that he wanted to do to turn around and just become exactly what he never wanted to become. And I get it, that's a cliche thing, but at the same time, what was the point of building this up and making it a great first movie on his character development just to destroy it in the next film? That's pointless to me, and that was the biggest turning point in this film. We also have, I don't understand why this movie was called Coming to America, because America was only featured in this movie for about 15 good minutes. He went to America, went to Zamunda, came back to America at the end of the movie, then went back to Zamunda. So the America aspect of this film wasn't really ingrained in it, so I kind of don't understand why it was called Coming to America. I guess it was just so people could be familiar with the property, and basically they hear the name and they're like, oh, I know that property. So it was just probably one of those things. You see the Golden Arches, you think McDonald's, you know? Also, the comedic elements of this film were severely lacking. I laughed about one good time during this movie, and it was with a scene with Leslie Jones and Prince Akeem's wife. I can't think of her name on the top of my head, but they were drunk, and they were basically singing the Humpty Dance, and I thought that scene was freaking hilarious. Outside of that, the movie is severely lacking in the comedic aspect. It's not very funny, and for a movie of this magnitude, with the amount of comedians that cameo in this movie, I really thought it could have been a lot funnier. Also, they have musical elements. It seems out of place. It really feels like a musical. Like, people are really performing and dancing and singing and all that good stuff. and it feels like it sticks out. Like, it feels like it doesn't really belong there. It tries really hard, but it just, to me, it just severely lacks. Also, I hate, and I say this very passionately, I hate Leslie Jones with a passion, but I must say that she was bearable in this movie. Leslie Jones' character was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan of her, but she was bearable. And for me to say that Leslie Jones is bearable, that's a good thing. Also, Jermaine Fowler, who is Prince Hakim's son in this movie, he does a pretty good job too. I'm not very familiar with the properties or the things that he is involved in, his project-wise. But I mean, outside of those, obviously I don't know much about. He did pretty well in this movie. It didn't feel like Shaft, where you had his Shaft passing the torch along to his son, and you basically despising the son, or in Indiana Jones, I might add, where Indy was passing the torch to his son. You know, you have those movies where that happens, and you're kind of just sitting there like, right? But it didn't feel that way. He did bring a kind of natural feeling to the role, and it didn't stick out like a sore thumb. To me, this movie is basically like a passing of the torch from one generation to the next. I felt like it wasn't very necessary, but at the same time, this movie does something funny. It pokes fun at sequels of original properties, and that's exactly what it is. So I felt like it's kind of foreshadowing its own death. It basically gave the calling card, like, here you go, we understand our fate, but I know you're going to watch it anyway. Which a lot of people are, because we are on quarantine and lockdown and COVID, and people want shit to watch because they can't go to the movies. So they're going to be scrambling to watch anything new that has any kind of like high value, which Coming to America did. Also, even though this is also hinted at in the movie, they make a joke about the barbershop sequels. And I feel like this movie feels like a barbershop sequel. It doesn't feel that good. It feels like just you kind of taking the juice from the first film and just kind of just milking it at this point. It really felt like a milk job, this movie right here. So on the Cinema Chop Shop, we do one of two things. This is how we grade it. Either you get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell, or you get spared and I just let you live. But today, I mean, I can't let this film slide, so you know that it's going to get bodied. Yeah, you heard it. This film is getting bodied. I don't understand why it was made. I understand that there's a lot of properties that are older properties that are getting the remake treatment, or they're getting the kind of modernized twist treatment, and they do a pretty good job. But then there's also the huge amount that get the same amount of treatment, and you know, they suck. And I wouldn't go as far to say this movie sucks. I would say it falls along the line of mediocrity, but it gets bodied because this simply is a movie that you can pass on. You don't have to honestly see this movie at all. If you stumble across a way to watch it for free, and you have Amazon Prime, and you're just trying to pass the time, sure, go ahead and do that. But at the same time, would it be something that I recommend that you jump on right now and find a way to watch it? Hell nah. Just do you know? But that's my review. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Whatever the case may be, drop it in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time. Adios. Now, you're exiting the Cinema Chop Shop, so get your ass out of here.